Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Navigating Midlife Live. I hope you've been having a great day. Menopause and intermittent fasting. Yes or no? Well, uh, yes and no. I'm not one to shy away from expressing my opinion. And do I think that intermittent fasting is right for menopause? If you do it a certain way, yes. If you do it other ways, no. So I want to share some statistics with you first before I get started. I just did a bit of research to see how many studies actually included women. I don't know if you realize that the majority of studies have been done on men. So out of 71 studies that have been done on intermittent fasting, only 13 included some women. And then I queried how many of those studies actually included women who were in some stage of menopause. And these women weren't specifically chosen because they were in menopause, other than a couple of other studies. I'll mention those in a second. But they weren't specifically chosen because they were in menopause or a stage of menopause. They were just purely women that were chosen to be part of the study. So, less than 10 have actually included women in some stage of menopause. And there was a couple of studies that were done that included women who were postmenopause and they either had some type of a metabolic disorder or they were overweight or obese. So there are very few studies that have actually been done on women and especially women in some stage of menopause. So why am I so against intermittent fasting? Well, here's why. Because it is a way of restricting calories, absolutely. But that's, I think, where the problem comes in. I've shared, I don't know if I've shared on here previously. Perhaps I didn't. Women ignore their hunger signals. Uh, we get into things and we're very focused on things and we ignore our hunger signals. That has a lot to do with us ignoring the messages from our bodies in general because we're caregivers. We are very um, diligent at what we do, but for the most part, we're caregivers. So if the children are sick, well, if you're sick as well, generally you're putting that aside. If your partner's sick, if people are sick at work, you pick up the slack. So we're just used to doing those things. So we ignore hunger signals because a lot of times we are not going to take the time to make a meal for ourselves or even heat something up. We just keep going. So that's one of the problems. So once you're ignoring your hunger signals and you're saying to yourself, well, I'm intermittent fasting, but are you getting in enough of the nutrients that you need on a daily basis to support your body? Because your body has a minimum sort of threshold or a minimum requirement of nourishment that it needs each day just to do all of its normal functions. And I know I've shared that on previous lives that I've done. So, anyway, so that's one reason that I get very concerned about it. Also, because of all of this information, all of this, the majority of the studies being done on men, and we are not little men. Our bodies work completely differently. So when you think about it, how do I put this? Men have the ability to procreate pretty much no matter what. In fact, and it's something that I could look up, but I don't think that men actually lose the ability to produce um, sperm. And hopefully it's okay to say that on YouTube. Watch me get banned now. But to produce what's needed to reproduce, to create another human, um, they don't lose that until like way old. And, of course, surgically, medically, something goes wrong. Yes, they will lose that ability. But if you think about it, so women who are anorexic or have some type of an eating disorder where they're really restricting calories, they will eventually lose their monthly menses. And that's because you don't want an unhealthy body creating a baby. The baby is going to need, or whatever you want to call it, little human. You don't want to. You don't want to be in a starvation situation to create what this little person is going to need inside of you to actually grow. Now, the other part of it is that even women who exercise excessively, or this is very common in the competition world, in the bodybuilding competition world, that women would lose their monthly menses, and it's because of one, all of the exercise that they're doing, so their body can't support everything that's going on, and then also because of everything that they're doing with respect to food. And generally, when you're getting down to the last weeks before competing, you're really restricting the amount of food that you're taking in and still doing um, almost the same amount of exercise that you were doing, months earlier when you were eating more. So our bodies need to be nourished. They need to be nourished purely to support the production of hormones, but also to support what our potential could be, right? The potential to carry another body with inside of us, that little human. So, those are the reasons why I feel that intermittent fasting can be very, very dangerous for women, and especially women in menopause. So, here's another reason why I don't really care for it when a woman is in one of the stages of menopause. It's very well known that, I believe it's in our mid to late 30s, that we start to, it's more difficult for us to hold on to muscle. And the way that you hold on to muscle, well, one, yes, you can exercise, do resistance training to maintain your muscle. But the other part of it is receiving enough nutrients to be able to maintain that muscle as well. So if we're really restricting the calories or nourishment, then chances are we're actually working against ourselves. The intermittent fasting could be breaking down more muscle um, compared to what we're actually taking in nourishment to help to maintain it, along with resistance training. Because if you're not doing some type of resistance training, you are at great risk of muscle loss. So those are the reasons that I don't like it. Okay, start off with all the negatives. Now, here are the reasons why I do like it, and here are some of the benefits to it. Um, I, we do need to give our digestive system a rest. Absolutely. So intermittent fasting can help with that. It gives the digestive system a chance to clear everything out, because it can take up to 5 hours for a meal to be totally processed through our digestive system. So if we're constantly eating, that's not a good thing. But here's the thing: you can easily give your digestive system a good long rest between dinner and breakfast. So, for example, if you finish dinner at say 7:30, and you eat breakfast around 7:30, 8 o'clock, well, now you've given your body just, or your digestive system, just over 12 hours of rest time. 12, that can be considered intermittent fasting. 12 hours is a very relevant amount of time with respect to intermittent fasting. Okay. Even if you went 9 o'clock, now you're in at 13 hours. So I'm going to get to a few more things. It is a way to make sure that we're not eating really late. I'm actually a huge proponent of having breakfast within 30 minutes to an hour of rising. That's what gets our metabolism going. So, okay, another negative that I should have mentioned earlier: when we're intermittent fasting, so some people are going 14, 16 hours, when you're going those long periods of time, again, women's bodies need to be nourished. So our bodies are saying, oh, there's no food. Okay, I need to hold on to everything that I've got stored. So your body's going to hold on to that fat. It's not going to release that fat unless you're giving the body some type of nourishment. So, so in that situation, when we're going those long hours, that's not helping our metabolism whatsoever. But when people are going really long hours, when they're fasting into 11 o'clock, noon, 1 p.m., you've now just told your body that there's no food available. So it's again that. Um, what would I call it? That our bodies just our bodies and our brains have not changed to the fact of not knowing that yes, there is some food that you're going to be eating at 1 o'clock. It's still thinking old times when there's no food. I don't know how many days there won't be food, so I'm going to hold on to everything within this body to support myself. Okay, so I don't like the long hours. Now, as I say, I don't mind it for somebody that if they're saying, okay, I need to make sure that I'm finishing my meal by 7:30 at the latest. And the reason I say 7:30 is because if you're going to bed around 10:30, that gives you 3 hours to digest your meal, or even 11 o'clock, that gives you 3.5 hours to digest your meal. That is going to allow you to sleep much better through the night because your body's not going to be processing all of that food. So that's where I feel that that is really adequate. Now, I understand if somebody's working shift work, yes, that is something you have to manage in it, and it does definitely take some planning. But I'm talking about people who are not on shift work. Yes, I know there's a lot of night owls out there that they get their best ideas at night. Still means you can eat your food, finish your dinner at 7:30. And I do get some people saying, yeah, but when I work late, my brain, I get hungry, my brain's working. Well, if you've eaten enough throughout the day to support your body, you really shouldn't be hungry at that point. And starting projects later in the evening just gets your brain going, and it's going to be more difficult to sleep. Okay, I digress. I wanted to mention a couple of those things. The other part that, and I'm looking at my notes here because I just want to make sure this is a topic I'm extremely passionate about because I really believe that women are doing more harm than good. Now, here's the other part. When you're intermittent fasting for a long period of time, and then, okay, so your digestive system's empty, that's good. But what's your first meal? Is your first meal, a big meal? If you have it, say you had dinner at, 7 o'clock last night, you decided that you want to do 16 hours of intermittent fasting. So you don't eat until 11 a.m. or, noon, whatever. That's a little over 16 hours. And are you going for a really big meal? Are you having like some type of a Mediterranean bowl, or, some vegetable and some animal protein? Well, what you've done now, your digestive system is just totally empty. It's, all relaxed. And now you're putting a huge meal into it. As women age, well, anybody as they age, the amount of the stomach acid that we produce reduces. And that can also be the case with digestive enzymes as well too. So now you've put this big meal into your digestive system, and maybe, whether you've made it or, whether you've gone out. If you've gone out, well, potentially you haven't given your body the signals of, the signals of that this food is coming. So all of your digestive system is not working. And so now you've just caused a lot of stress in your digestive system. And if you're busy or you're talking or you're at a meeting or whatever, you're probably chewing quickly, you're not breaking your food down properly. So now you've started to cause some major digestive system issues, which could lead to leaky gut. I'm just going to put my glasses on here because I see that there's a comment. So Jennifer says, some people I know only eat lunch, so go 24 hours for the next meal. That is a big, big no. There is no way that you can get in the amount of nourishment that you need in one meal. Absolutely no way that you can do it. Whether you're a man or a woman, there's no way that you can do it. Most women are going to need at a minimum somewhere around 1,500 calories, depending on their activity level. You can tell I'm getting really serious about this. Thanks for that comment, Jennifer, because that's kind of really got me going here. But if a woman needed to have 1,500 calories, do you realize how much you would be eating? Now, 1,500 calories you could get very easily from a not so healthy meal, pasta with sauce and all other kinds of things, or, going out to a fast food restaurant. Yeah, you could easily get in 1,500 calories, but that's not the food that's going to support your body. Trying to get 1,500 calories into a meal that has a starch, some good fibrous veg, and some animal protein, your plate is going to be huge. There's no way that your digestive system is going to be able to handle that. So I'm glad you brought that up because as you can tell, very, very passionate about it. So no, it's not good. I don't even believe in 24-hour fasting or 3-day cleanses or whatever, because most people come out of them wrong. You need to come out of them very gently. And depending on the type of metabolism that you do have, depending on your activity level, it can sometimes be really hard to make up the nourishment that your body actually needs that you didn't have for that 24 hours. I've gotten my system into a routine where I wake up hungry because thanks, Jennifer. Jennifer loves my passion. I wake up hungry. Actually, I can just I could pop these up on the screen. But yeah, Jennifer loves my passion. Thank you. I wake up hungry because I eat within 30 minutes to an hour of rising. And I found that that's made a big difference in my whole schedule throughout the day as far as when I'm eating. Come dinner time around, 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'm really hungry. I'm hungry at lunchtime. My body is telling me it needs food because I've got my metabolism going first thing in the morning. And so, when a lot of people are coming out of fasts, if they're not doing it in the right way of having something light, um, you know, you're going to look at something like having some, more flaky type fish, like something that isn't too fatty, but sort of a delicate type fish, like maybe like a sole or something like that, along with, say, something like, sweet potato, and you would want that sweet potato to be mashed, or you'd want vegetables that would be sort of a softer texture, because that is going to be far easier on your digestive system rather than, tying into, like even having something like porridge. It's very fibrous and or oatmeal. If you're adding in any amount of fat, well, that's going to be harder for your system to break down as well too. So this is why I feel that when people are fasting or doing cleanses, they really need to have the guidance of somebody who knows the all of the consequences of it. The other thing is when you're fasting, your body, if it is releasing some fat, our fat holds toxins. Okay, so the fat in the body will hold toxins. So when you're releasing that, then you could also be releasing toxins into your system. And what will happen there is, if you're not drinking enough water to make sure that all of that is passing through, then those toxins are going to circulate in your body. So it is important to stay hydrated. But a lot of people, I bet, when they're fasting, don't get in the amount of hydration that they actually need. Now, the other thing is when women, and again, women and men really, as we age, when we're not producing enough stomach acid and digestive enzymes, we start to run into issues with constipation. So again, this is where intermittent fasting can now really start to affect women's digestive systems. And women, it's so classic that women struggle from constipation as they age. And that's where the amount of water is really, really necessary. But I don't know if this is kind of like an old wives' tale or, but first meal in pushes the last meal out. So when you're waiting a long time, it's not necessarily going to support, that actual bowel movement that you should be having every day. So I just want to check to make sure that check. I mentioned everything that I wanted to mention, and I did. So definitely there are benefits, but I would prefer with all of my clients, every client that I work with, I discourage them from intermittent fasting, and I get them to eat within a reasonable window during the day so that they're finished eating by around 7:30 in the evening. And starting their eating at 8 o'clock in the morning, well, that gives them a full 12 hours, even if they went till say 9 o'clock. But most women are up early. I mean, I'm generally up by 6:30, so I'm getting my first meal in by around 7:30 in the morning. And so I'm really focusing on getting that last meal in before 7:30 in the evening, but finishing before 7:30 in the evening. So that is what I wanted to share today. I also wanted to, I'll bring up my banner here that I normally bring up. So if you're really confused about what to do in any of the stages of menopause from a nutrition standpoint, I just talked a lot about intermittent fasting, which is very popular with a lot of people. So I think that this is something that that is important to know. But if you're really confused about what should I eat, what's right for me, I hear all this information, I see all this stuff out there. Do this, don't do that. Even for me, sometimes when I'm looking at stuff, I'm like, what? What? I need to look into this. Like, why are we talking about this now? Um, I believe you have nothing to lose to schedule a call with me. It's 30 minutes, all about you. Let's talk about what's going on, whether I can provide some, very quick tips that can help you, or whether it would be better for you to work with me one on one. So I've got my information down below. And the other thing is that if you're watching this on the replay and you post comments, I'm more than happy to answer those questions as well too. So the other thing I wanted to mention is next week I have a guest, and I'm very excited to have this guest, and that's why I did this topic this week, about intermittent fasting, and potentially that it is not the healthiest process for women. So next week I have a guest on. Her name is Michelle Ho, and she is an expert on eating disorders, emotional eating, all those types of things. And I'm really excited to have her on. Her and I met earlier this year, I think it was, might even have been late last year, and realized that, we work with clients in very similar ways, but I can tell a woman, what she does need to eat. The most difficult thing for me is, really understanding all of the psychological nuances around food. And every client that I've looked after has had some sort of a negative experience around food, whether it be some type of a food trauma, or whether it be some type of an eating disorder. So I'm really excited to have Michelle on next week. I think it's going to be a great conversation. So thank you very much for joining. As I say, reach out. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to answer your questions. And join me again next week on Navigating Midlife Live. Same time, same place. And I hope you have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week. Thank you for joining. Bye.